Good afternoon and welcome all of you for Coffee with Krish. I'm reporting to you from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham headquarters, Ettimede, Coimbatore. I trust and hope all of you are doing well, safe and healthy. Today we have a special guest with us, Brahmachari Maheshwara Chaitanya, who is the chairman of admissions for all the 4 Amrita School of Engineering campuses. He is also the Deputy Controller of Examinations at Amritapuri campus, and he is also the contest director for the most sought after programming contest, which is called ICPC. He is a master in computer application, has more than 15 years of teaching career, and I would certainly, on your behalf, welcome Swamiji for this session. Coffee with Krish. Before I begin my queries and clarification with Swamiji on the admissions, as well as regarding Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, more focus on to School of Engineering, I would request Swami to begin the session with his blessings to all of us. A few words from you, Swamiji, and that would be the inaugural blessings to all of us who are attending this session for the afternoon. Over to you, Swamiji.
Okay, thanks, Krish, for this session. So basically, to start with, the first message I wanted to convey is don't lose the confidence on whatever career you are planning to have in, or whatever career you are planning to select in your degree. Second thing is you have to continue learning. You have to continue with adapting to situations. You have to continue practicing the art of cracking or art of attending the competitive exams. Let it be JEE, let it be Amrita entrance or any entrance or whatever competitive test or exam you are planning to attend in future. You keep practicing it. So I'll be glad to answer the questions whatever is asked here on BTech. To be more precisely, the career path or how you select a branch or what about the higher studies after BTech, what will you do after 4 years? So whatever questions I'll try to answer to the level best. Basically, I'm a technological enthusiast. I keep updating about the technology, whatever happens in the technological world. That is also a kind of adaptive learning because technology cannot be separated from your everyday life. Technology is a part of your life. Now you see that there are a lot of ways in which you can learn things online. There was a time when the access to internet, access to online resources, there were restrictions, but now even for a primary school kid has got mobile phone or a smartphone or tablet or laptop, and most of the schools have started offering classes online. Of course, it is 100% sure, or it is pretty clear that online education, when compared with formal system of education, is tough and challenging both for teachers and the students. It has to go hand in hand, which means that in your future or whenever you start doing your degree, this will be part of your life, part of your academic life. And from a different point of view, from a different dimension, I would say that you as +2 students or kids, you are blessed to be in this kind of a crisis. The reason being, if you are able to face this crisis, if you are able to overcome this crisis by taking this as an opportunity to learn, I'm 100% sure that you'll be able to overcome any adverse situations in your entire life. Because this type of pandemic happens once in lifetime, once in 100 years. So the moment you are about to enter the college education or formal higher education system, and you are staring at such a situation, and I would say that no, there is no need to stare. Just wait and see. Don't lose the hope or confidence. You just keep learning with whatever limitations, whatever resources you have. And we can start the session.
It's your personal achievement, Swamiji. I find from your profile that in 2018, you were selected as the Leadership Award, the Asia Leadership Award for ICPC, because you have been associated with ICPC, that's International Collegiate Programming Contest, for almost more than a decade, and you have been awarded the Leadership Award. You'd like to throw some light on that, number one. Number two, you also have your instrument for bringing Amrita to such a much higher heights, and also bringing in many students from within our country to take part in this contest. So first of all, our congratulations from Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham and from the viewers for achieving this leadership award. That's number one. Number two, what is this ICPC? Our students would like to know this because they're going to enter into our School of Engineering, and before that they would like to know on ICPC.
See, the best example I would say is nowadays you cannot get away or you cannot have a smartphone without Google Drive. And whatever applications you need, like spreadsheets or word processor, it is there at your fingertips. The moment you email, the moment you create a document, attach it to email, send it to somebody, it all happens in the backend. But it requires some computer programming. It requires some kind of analytical programming. You just imagine, we can now verify our Aadhaar in no seconds, or maybe in fraction of seconds. You can verify Aadhaar with the help of the fingerprint. So if you imagine searching my record, searching one person's record among crores of records, and you're getting it in fraction of seconds time. You search something in Google, it takes milliseconds to display the results. How does it happen? It happens only with efficient program or efficient computer programs. And ICPC stands for International Collegiate Programming Contest. It is all about competitive programming. Competitive programming is highly important in this technological era because it contains mathematics, it contains high computer science algorithms and powerful programming language like C++ or Python. And you write an efficient program. You write the program which can handle crores of data, millions of data. And how efficiently is that program? So that a competitive programmer alone can do. So I have been hosting or I have been coordinating this programming contest since 2007. We started with almost like 100 teams from India. 100 teams means 300 students. And by 2011, 2015. It reached almost like 10,000 college students.
Oh, that's lovely.
And in 2016, we started ICPC for schools in collaboration with CodeChef. CodeChef is one of the platforms to enhance your programming skills. You can search it CODECHEF, CodeChef. So in 2018, I got the recognition of Distinguished Asia Leadership Award.
Wonderful.
That also to bring, or Amrita was instrumental in bringing up 300 plus colleges, or I would say that 10,000 students participating in this contest. We were able to beat the participation fight from our nearest neighbor, controversial neighbor, China.
Okay.
So because of this participation, we were able to get a better kind of image in the international arena. So I'm so fortunate to have, such kind of recognition. I am fortunate to be at Amrita that created a platform for the students from the Indian programming community. So that is what all about ICPC. And I want to tell you one more thing. We are coming up with 3 different programming contests, focusing only on school students.
We means Amrita School of Engineering.
Yeah, okay. Amrita School of Engineering. And there will be an exclusive contest only for the girl students.
Oh, very good.
Because we need to have more and more girls joining computer science, developing efficient computer programs, because that is what, or the data you collect from different sources can be driven, can be utilized only with the help of efficient computer programs. So that is in a nutshell. I see.
Thank you so much, Swamiji, that we also pray that you get many such recognitions year on year. And my question to you now is, which class, maybe 6th or 7th or 8th, which class do you recommend that a student can go in for programming? Is there an age barrier or a class barrier, or anybody can take on programming? And how difficult is programming?
So the youngest, I would say the 8th or 9th class is the best.
8th and 9th standard. Okay, fine.
I know one boy from a coastal area in Tamil Nadu, Kadalur. His name is Srisham, and he participated in one of the contests last year. He's in 9th standard.
Oh, wonderful.
He is undergoing open schooling.
Oh.
And the most amazing fact that, I myself was wondering, I was stunned to hear that he is spending 9 hours per day in front of the computer.
Okay.
So what his father has to do is to get laptop and internet connectivity ready. He is happy with that.
Okay.
And I'm sure that you can Google search for one girl, Malvika Joshi from Bombay. She was in the top in International Olympiad in Informatics. That was in 2019.
Oh.
And she too was taken over, or she was grabbed by the world famous MIT. She also did her open schooling, and she came to this core computer science. So these all are the experiences which I have.
Wonderful. That's
so
great.
From 8th or 9th standard, because anyway CBSE is starting AI from 9th standard.
Yeah, true.
So which means that anybody who is passionate about programming, having a laptop or having a PC can start learning programming at any time.
So your suggestion is 8th standard would be the right time?
Yeah, 8th or 9th standard would be the best time.
Wonderful. Okay. Now coming to our university, I mean, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, we have all schools of, like schools of engineering, schools of arts and science, schools barring law, right? Is that? And that's when would the School of Law would come into existence under our banner? Any
Perhaps maybe in the next 1 or 2 or 3 years.
We would expect that we have made a complete Vishwavidyapeetham with all streams, all disciplines.
Yeah. Currently, except law, I think there are almost like 200 programs under.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, under maybe 7 to 8 schools.
Yes. Now coming to Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, so which clearly states that barring law, we have every other stream, starting from Amrita School of Engineering, Amrita School of Arts and Science, Amrita School of Business, Amrita School of Biotechnology, Amrita School of Agriculture Science, right? So we have Amrita School of anything did I leave? Many anything you touch, School of Pharmacy, School of Medicine, Dentistry. So you touch anything we have, barring Amrita School of Law, and God willingly in the next couple of years we also have Amrita School of Law coming into existence. Now, we have been going through the website. We have heard something called, we are into some eminence, institution with eminence certification by the government of India. We also have seen that under DHE, the higher Times Higher Education, worldwide we are somewhere around 600 rank to 800 rank. And the recent times you also heard about the Time Higher Education Asia. We have now moved from 160 rank to the 125th rank.
Exactly.
And about 4 or 5 days back, MHRD announced, the Minister of MHRD had announced that we moved from an 8th rank to 4th rank, which means Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham is India's 4th best university. That's a wonderful achievement, and on behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank everybody watching us who have been an alumni for us, faculties, management, well-wishers. So thank you so much for making this 4th rank All India possible for us. So now my question is, now how did we in 2019, we were on 8th rank in NIRF, right, Swamiji? How did we move, and what did that special we did to move from the 8th rank to the 4th rank? Can you just throw some light on this, Swamiji?
See, what is it that a graduate student is looking for? A graduate student will always look for one among the 3 key things. One is whether he is able to get a better placement. Second is whether university is offering or university has the opportunity to go abroad for higher education.
Yes.
Third is there anything interesting for the students who are passionate to start a company? That is entrepreneurship. So we have all these 3. We have a very good placement cell. It is something like 95% of students are getting placed with highest salary like 52 lakhs in Atlassian. And one of the major components contributed towards ranking is the second one, that is the higher education opportunities.
Fine.
So we have collaborations with 160 plus universities across the globe. And most of it is dominated by US and Europe.
Okay.
And I'm sure that you might have seen recently that Amrita has signed MOU with the University of Arizona.
Okay.
So there is a possibility of student exchange programs. There is a possibility of international internship. There is a possibility of dual degree programs. If you want to, go abroad and to continue your studies with MS immediately after BTech, or in the third year of the BTech, it is possible.
Wonderful. So I think all this have attributed.
Yeah, and there are a large number of people, large number of international faculty, large number of faculties from the reputed universities across the globe who visit Amrita, who are adjunct faculties of Amrita. So that also adds to the ranking. And when you look from the student perspective, it helps them a lot. Suppose if the students want to go abroad, they would need a specific statement, citing the statement of purpose. So if you are able to get an international faculty from a reputed university and you are interested in doing project with him, so it helps a lot for the students to go abroad with adequate skills required. So these are the ranking factors, and definitely we keep changing the curriculum every 3 years to make sure that it is always updated and acceptable for the industry.
Oh, wonderful. So I think all this have contributed for Amrita being the 4th best university in India. So congratulations again, and thanks to everyone who have contributed towards making us the 4th best university in India. So thank you so much, Swamiji, for a lovely briefing of how did we manage to get that. Now you mentioned about after completing your undergraduation, there are chances people get placed. There are chances people would start their own business. Entrepreneurship would be one of the choice. They could also go in for higher studies. So what is your recommendation, Swamiji? Like once the students join us in the year 2020 and graduate in 2024, what is your recommendation? Should they pick up a job as per the placement? You said this year the highest was 52 lakhs.
Yes.
And the company called Atlasia has given this to 4 or 5 students from the School of Engineering. But what is your recommendation? Should they pick up placement? Should they go for entrepreneurship, or should they go for doing the higher studies, or should they write for civil services? So, with your vast experience and the type of exposure you have from the 4th year students, what do they really do? Can you just throw some light on this? Because students are still now confused whether should they go up higher studies. So, what is your thought on that?
So, primarily, it is ultimately the passion of the students. So in the first hand, I will leave it to the students.
So what they, okay, fine.
Yeah, but if they are not clear on what they should do, my recommendation would be to join an organization.
Wonderful. So
I mean going for the placements. Why I am saying is the reason is that as an engineer, ultimately you are an engineer after BTech.
Yes.
So as an engineer, a student, or when the student becomes an engineer, it is essential to have an exposure to the industry.
Okay.
So to get that exposure, it is very essential that they take a placement in the core engineering sector or in any sector which they, depending on their discipline.
Absolutely.
So once they are in the industry, it helps them a lot to understand. Or that can be one of the platforms where they can decide whether they should continue with the company or for higher studies.
All right. So 2-3 years of exposure into the industry, working.
Then going to the going for higher studies will be the best option.
Or even starting your own business.
Your own business
you will know the nuances of
yes.
starting a business.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the best suggestions what Swamiji has given us. Pick up the job what you get once you complete your BTech, work there for a couple of years or 3 years, get to know how the industry runs, and then take a call on you want to go for higher studies or then start your own business. So thank you Swamiji for explaining this concept to all of us here. Next is I'm talking from the engineer's angle, but then we have students who are in the school now watching us. They're 12th standard or maybe even 11th, 8th, 9th. Now, we always believe that before you choose a particular career, right, through either becoming an engineer or through doctors or architects or lawyers, how does we always tell the student, find out your strength, find out your strength, find out your strength. Now, how do I find out my strength? And I mean, in the sense that is there any way to find out an individual strength and then take a call on should I become an engineer or should I become a doctor or an architect? So is there any way, Swamiji, from your angle that we can know about self-analysis and then based on the self-analysis, the potential of an individual, decide on the future career? Over to you, Swamiji.
Yeah. So there are one of the scientific ways to understand your strength and weakness is taking a psychometric test. So psychometric test will have some questions. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes. It has a lot of questions, of course, to be answered in hardly 20 to 30 minutes. And in those questions will assess you, or the responses you give for those questions will assess your capacity, whether you are enterprising, whether you are interested in working on projects, whether you are interested in mathematics, the skills in mathematics, whether you are very good in language. So there are a lot of factors when you say that whether you want to become an engineer or a doctor or something else. There are a lot of things, a lot of factors involved. One is the knowledge about the domain. Second is how you apply that knowledge in the domain. And third is the leadership quality, team management skills. So all this matter when you ask about the profession. So to understand that, it is always better to take a psychometric test. And one more thing is, to the maximum possible, you should engage yourself in various competitions at school level. Even if you are in a college or when you after joining, most important factor is your individuality and personality. It is not the engineering subject alone. The moment you are outside, the moment you complete your studies in college, you are in a competitive environment. You have to be a fast learner, you have to be adaptive, you have to keep your pace or the learning pace at the same level as you are doing in undergraduate studies. So participating in competitions, participating in different kind of projects, that will help you to assess the skills yourselves.
Okay. Swamiji, like I'm a bit confused, looking at me when I'm in my 12th standard. When I decide on a particular college after my 12th, what are the things that I must look at before I choose a university or a college? Is it there? If it's not there, no. If it is there, yes. If it's not there, no. So what are those things that I must look before I decide on a particular college?
Okay. The first thing I always say that these 4 years, 4 years of BTech or 4 years of this undergraduate program in engineering, that is going to be the foundation of your entire life or foundation of the entire career.
Absolutely.
So how do you choose a branch of your choice? How do you choose an institution or an institution which is near to you or which is best for you, which you think that it is best for you? So there are a couple of factors. You have to see the track record of the institution. Whether so you instead of thinking about the 4 years, you think of what you can do after 4 years if you are graduating from this institution. So which means that I'll make it very clear that you have to look for the opportunities created by the institution, so that as a student you utilize those opportunities, then you build a career through those opportunities.
Wonderful.
And that can be academics.
Yes.
That can be placements. That can be training for training in soft skills, infrastructure, faculty. Entire thing involves in that. So what they should do is my suggestion would be, anyway you are in a lockdown situation, though now almost everything is now free, released, etc. But still most of the people are at home. So why don't you spend some time in searching for the top ranked universities in the country, offering the branch of your choice. Now how you choose the branch? Choosing the branch has to depend on your interest. Don't think that this branch alone can give you a job. No, nothing like that. Any branch you pick in engineering, you will definitely get a job provided you have the skills. Skills are very important. It is impossible for you to get a better job unless otherwise you are skilled. Skill is very important. Especially after this pandemic, once the economy starts rising, then naturally economy will need skilled engineers, specifically in the healthcare sector. So in order to learn or in order to earn that skill, those skills, whether the institution can create opportunity for you, whether the institution has such platforms, and what is the track record of the placements of that specific institution you choose, that for that specific branch. So you might have heard that maybe a couple of years back, there were reports saying that 70% of the students are not getting job. Right. So it is not that there are no jobs. The problem is that we don't have skilled engineering students or engineering students coming out with skills.
Absolutely. So like we really understood that when you have to look at for a particular institution before you decide on that particular institution, you must look at the capabilities of the faculties, infrastructure, placements, learning and development. So once you're clear and sure about it, you can always decide on a particular institution. But my question is, you also have briefed us as to how we should decide on certain disciplines, whether should I take computer science, should I take EEE, should I take mechanical, civil. But then my question is like, I wish to join mechanical and I don't get mechanical. So I'm totally upset about not getting mechanical. So how do I choose the next choice of stream? Like, from the day one, I've been looking at mechanical. Suddenly they say this vacancy is not there for that particular mechanical in the particular institution where I intend. So how do I choose the next one? Can you just throw some light? Because it happens to many of us.
Yes. Yeah, you are right. You are very right. Absolutely an important question for the students who are looking for engineering branches and institution. So it's so happens that most of the students are confused when they get third choice or fourth choice.
Yes.
And they always want to go a little above that. So what generally you should do as students, you should do is you should have at least 3 or 4 options in priority. Let us say first is your computer science, or first is mechanical engineering, second is aerospace engineering, third is civil engineering, and fourth is computer science, so fifth is electronics and communication. So what you should do, you can do a research or study on all these branches. So generally there is a categorization of CSIT branches, circuit branches like electronics and communication, computer and communication, electrical and electronics engineering. Then it is mechanical, civil and chemical engineering, aerospace. So if you take these categories, suppose if let us say your first choice is aerospace, but you are getting mechanical or electrical or electronics, then I would say that you go for that. The reason is if you generally take an aircraft, all these branches have something to do in the aircraft. An electronics and communication engineer has
all are interrelated.
All are interrelated.
Interdisciplinary.
So which means that what I wanted to convey is, once they complete the graduation in that branch, let them choose the next higher branch or next higher education in that specific domain. Specialization into aerospace.
Absolutely. Okay.
Or specialization in robotics. So which means the exact answer would be to have 3 or 4 different branches which are interlinked. Or if you want to, or most of the students are now looking for AI. If your first choice is AI, second choice is computer science engineering, third option is computer and communication, and if you are getting computer and communication, you go with it.
Okay.
Then in the 3rd year and 4th year from Amrita curriculum, we have vast number of elective courses offered by departments. What is elective course? So let us take an example. You want to become a cyber security expert, or you want to become an expert in communications. Because I am putting thrust on communication because of the devices like Alexa or the communication technologies like 5G. When it comes into force, all these will be relevant.
Wonderful.
So which means if you want to be an expert in communication and you are getting branch called electrical and electronics. So electrical is primary, electronics secondary. But what happens in the 3rd year, you will be getting a vast number of elective courses focused on communications. So those kind of opportunities, if offered to the students, it is highly beneficial.
Thank you so much, Somaji, on explaining as to what we should do. I think we are quite clear about that. Somaji, now coming back to the current situation, I think we are all worried, Somaji, in the sense that we are not very sure what's going to happen in the future. In fact, if you ask me, most of the students, about 90 to 95% of the students, they feel that the future is quite bleak, quite uncertain, unpredictable, volatile. And they feel that after graduating, whether it's not talking about engineering, but whichever stream you take, we all talk about the economy falling down. People currently are losing jobs, and the pay cuts. It's going to be a chaos in the future. So under these circumstances, Somaji, especially those students who are now applied with us and waiting to join us, what would be their future when they become engineers in 2024? Over to you, Somaji. How does the economy look? like, and what is the industry which will bloom, and what is your advice to our students? Will they have jobs? And on top of it, you're talking about artificial intelligence, I mean, which is robotic again. And even now we fear our children saying that the future jobs will be taken over by robotics. So all this have put them into sort of a sort of depression. And I want Swamiji, with your blessings, they are out of the depression and they go with a positive note and join and become engineers, and they are placed somewhere and they live happily. This is what it is. I wanted to throw some light on this and make our students understand what's going to be the future.
Okay.
Over to you, Swamiji.
Okay. See, if you so let us go back to the time when the lockdown started.
It was the 20th or so in March.
March.
Yes.
Okay. The moment you are in lockdown, the moment the entire country was closed, even a tea shop was not working.
Absolutely.
Schools were shut, colleges were shut, almost all the offices were shut. What did we do? We kept watching the news channels.
Yes.
We kept using our mobile. And how did we adapt to technology? How did we get adapted towards online learning? How did we trust a payment gateway? Let us take an app like Beam or an app like Paytm or MobiKwik or anything, any payments gateway system. So which means that even during the pandemic, technology was there to help. And I'm sure that you might have seen several videos released by the state police, flying the drones.
Yes.
Flying the drones for surveillance.
Drones and driving those people.
Yes, exactly. And they are sitting in their office. They are sitting in the police station.
Watching.
And they are able to watch in a big screen. They are able to watch what is happening in the city. So what made it possible? It was only because of the technology. And imagine sending a robot to look after a patient, or to deliver medicine to a patient, or food to a patient in the place of human being.
It's safer.
It is more safer.
Yes.
So that doesn't mean that the human beings will lose the job. No.
So we can be confident.
Exactly. Second thing is, even if you are part of the hospital or part of the organization, you should be able to communicate with the robot.
Yes.
So it is just like an Android phone. Nobody taught us on how to learn
Yes.
or how to work on Android phone, isn't it? Nobody taught us how to do a video call or how to do use a WhatsApp Messenger, Telegram Messenger, how to install from Google Play Store. So the learning has to keep going. And the moment the current or this academic year students, those who are joining the engineering in 2020, the day in which they are passing out, they will certainly have jobs, because let me just explain you. It is proved that we are very poor in healthcare system.
We are Indians.
Okay. Which means that the hospitals or the healthcare industry needs a massive revamp. So which means that we need more and more machinery integrated with technology.
Okay.
So which means that will naturally boost the manufacturing industry.
So you're going to say that only the healthcare will boom, and if you look at currently, aviation is out, tourism is out.
It is not. It is not. So let me again come down to one more level. I know so many people started ordering the goods online.
Well, that was before, yeah, right.
So which means that e-commerce will increase. So e-commerce can survive only if there is cargo movement.
Okay.
So what does it mean? You need vehicles, you need transportation, isn't it?
Yeah,
so once this manufacturing industry, starting with healthcare, is in a boom, connecting with that, logistics will increase, supply chain will increase, e-commerce will increase. E-commerce will naturally need AI, machine learning technology, online platform, internet, everything will boom. So just because we are in a pandemic situation doesn't mean that it is going to be forever. No, not at all. Because we have witnessed a lot of such pandemics, or a lot of such wars, or a lot of such crisis situations. and human beings have all been able to come out of it. So, given the situation, doesn't mean that the future of the students who are enrolling this year is going to be unsecure. No,
Absolutely.
not.
Swamiji, so much you talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, all this is finally leading a student to only go for computer science or artificial intelligence. Is that right? Because you are talking about e-commerce, it's more of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, given an opportunity, like let's say Swamiji, you are in your 12th standard and you want to become an engineer, and if at all you have to choose a particular stream, which stream will you pick up, Swamiji?
See, the thing is, it is not about a specific brand.
Because every time we talk about artificial
Yeah.
intelligence and robotics, and that's why children running towards computer science and
Yes,
artificial
yes.
intelligence.
See, let me clear it out.
Yes,
See,
sir.
I myself being a computer enthusiast, and I myself being a computer science teacher, I would recommend students to go for different brands.
Absolutely. Okay.
Why? The reason is that computer science is definitely good. I'm not saying that computer science is bad, but that alone is not the branch which you will get a job. The only thing is, as the time goes, when technology is integrated with hardware or devices, it changes.
You have hardware and software.
Exactly.
So,
you just see this phone, this mobile phone, Samsung mobile phone. To manufacture this phone, it is not just a computer science engineer that is required.
You need a mechanical engineer.
You need a mechanical engineer.
You got to design.
Yeah, you need an electrical engineer. You need a communications person. Then only this comes out.
Okay, right.
Because the moment you want to buy
a chemical engineer also. Because
exactly. Because of
temperature.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
So which means that you want to buy a phone means you will look for the battery backup.
Absolutely.
You will look for the camera, because you need not carry multiple devices with you, isn't it?
Yeah, very true.
So that doesn't mean that only computer science is involved in this. No, it is not. So each and every branch has its own contribution to any device manufacturing. So I'm sure that you are well aware about Alexa, absolutely. Amazon Alexa. So the Amazon Alexa will answer any queries raised by the human beings. How does it help? Or how does it work? It has to capture the voice. It will decode the voice. It is signal processing. Then it will search in the internet. You need connectivity.
Yes, correct.
And then it will bring back the results and tell you it is speaking to you. Again, the recognition of voice, isn't it? Absolutely. So all this connected towards a computer or a device, and now it says that you can just switch off the fans and AC or tube light just by telling Alexa that okay, Alexa switch off the fan, which means that you are able to control all the appliances. How does it happen? It can happen only with an interdisciplinary kind of a branch or an interdisciplinary kind of a study. So the core thing is one branch is not limited to that domain. When you say that it is AI is now vastly used in healthcare. So which means that even if I am a computer science engineer, I am expected to know something about biology.
Very right.
Something about what is happening in the healthcare industry.
So biotechnology, bioinformatics.
Exactly. So how you decode the DNA sequence, how you store it in a database, where you store it, how you retrieve it, how you retrieve huge data in a meaningful way. So which means that the branch you choose, let us take mechanical engineering or mechanical engineer working in automobile industry. Now automobile industry even has an automobile has a GPS.
Yes.
So how you track a vehicle and what all kind of information is sent through this through a device tracking system or vehicle tracking system to the company. Let it be in aviation industry. How do you track it? So which means every branch or every student completing any branch in engineering, we have never expected that in such a kind of pandemic situation, chemical engineering is going to be useful.
Yes. Because
you need sanitizer now, you need liquid soap now, you need a cost-effective solutions for disinfecting the area, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So which means that every engineer, as an engineer, has his own contribution in the economy.
Exactly. So One question before we wind up. September 15th is called as the Engineers Day, and it is the birthday of Visvesvaraya. And he excelled as an engineer, no doubt about it. And most of our students who are wishing to become an engineer in the next 4 years, I want Swamiji to enlighten us as to what type of quality that you must develop in yourself to excel as an engineer and be like that particular engineer Visvesvaraya. And that's what, it's not just being an engineer. We want to be the best of the engineers. So the qualities that one should inherit himself when he's a student for 4 years with us. So what are the qualities that he must develop to be the best engineer when he gets into a profession? Over to you, Swamiji.
Okay, so it is a very, very good question, and at the same time, essential in these times. One of the important, since you asked this question, let me put it in a different way. It is innovation. So our students from Coimbatore campus and from Amritagiri campus, they have come out with a mask. A mask to be used in for those health workers who are with the COVID patients.
Okay.
So that health mask they have developed it with the help of a 3D printer.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
This was done recently.
Recently.
Okay.
I think in April or May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So what does it mean? And they are from mechanical engineering background.
Okay.
So they have innovated a kind of lightweight. See, when you say it is a mobile, or when you say it is just this is just a cover of the mobile. But I will certainly look for handy kind of mobile cover, isn't it?
Yeah,
I will not go for heavy or bulk. So similarly, what happens when you come with a mask? We all know that almost all the health workers are working 24/7.
True.
And they need to have a kind of mask where they will not feel irritated after some time.
Yeah, okay, fine.
The way in which they have to wear it for continuously for a lot of hours. So they came up with a solution. It was published in the news also. So what did they do? They designed it in a computer. So what does it mean? It means that even a computer science engineer or a mechanical engineer should be able to know both.
Okay.
Suppose if I'm a computer science engineer and I want to come up with a mask, I definitely need a help of mechanical engineer. A mechanical engineer can design it and I can do something on computer, but the material to be chosen, dimensions, etc., can be done only with the help of a mechanical engineer. So recently, there is some more updates for you. You can search for something called as mixed reality.
Mixed reality.
So mixed reality, it is by Microsoft. I recently read the document by Microsoft. Suppose if you have a building and you are standing inside the building and you want to find out the best place to fix a lift. Lift to carry the people from the ground floor to the top floor. So you have something, a mixture of virtual reality and augmented reality. In the device, you just look, in that device itself, you can see how it will appear if the lift is built.
And where to construct a lift.
Exactly.
Okay, both.
So even if a civil engineer, even if an electronic engineer who want to have a lift, he has the technology in hands.
Okay.
So how does it happen? It happens only with the help of innovation. So you keep observing, let us say in your city, wherever you are, in your city, you are thinking of a solution to curb the traffic jam.
Okay.
Or you are thinking of a solution to reduce the waste, effectively manage the waste using renewable technology. So that is innovation. So innovation can happen only if you are given opportunities, and you have to utilize that. That is what I said in the first, when you asked the first question. That itself, then itself I said that you have to be in a kind of project mode. It is always good to participate in competitions. Let it be an online competition. We always we have something called as National Science Olympiad.
Okay.
So such kind of competitions, if you participate, that will give you a good exposure. I would say that even if you fail, even if you are not able to get a top position, it is a learning for you.
Participation is
Yeah,
vital.
because that is how the innovation happens. See, you just search for Elon Musk. 3 times he failed. 4th time he succeeded. And that is the kind of attitude you should have. Taking up challenges.
All right. So taking up challenges, creativeness, innovation will all lead you to be the best of the engineers. And we have 10 more minutes to go. But my question is on AEEE. I think we have now 2 phases of examination, 11th and 12th of July, and the other is 23, 24, 25. I don't know whether that is right, but then 24, 25, 26, and 11 and 12 of July, the first phase and the second phase. Swamiji will, I don't know, there are a lot of queries from the students which is popping up almost every day. Will this exam of AEEE, another engineering entrance examination, take place the first phase or in the second phase? Or will it move to, of course, nothing can be predicted, but then it is better to hear from the horse's mouth as to whether they are going to write those online tests in the first phase and the second phase. And if that's the case, we have to have the slot booking done. And we have announced them that it will take place on the 28th.
Yes.
Today we are on 21st.
21st.
So 7 days to go. They have to go for slot booking for the phase 1 and phase 2. So will it take place, Swamiji? It's not my question.
It's a crucial question you have asked now. So given the situation, I am yet to hear from the CBSE.
I think tomorrow will be there.
Tomorrow they are planning to announce the the fate of the remaining exams, whether they will scrap or whether they will continue to postpone it. We don't know.
For the 12th.
12th, yeah. So the decision of the university will completely depend on the decision taken by the CBSE.
Fine.
So tomorrow, if they say that okay, they are
if they say that it's not scrapped, there's no going to be.
Yeah, then we cannot have the phase 1. Okay. We cannot have AEEE on 11th and 12th in the phase 1. Okay.
If it is scrapped.
Yeah. Okay. Because we also feel that the safety of the children
Absolutely.
is the topmost, should be given topmost priority. In that case, what we will do is we will move it to the last week of July.
Okay.
Along with the other entrance examination.
24, 25, 26, 27,
yes.
28.
Yes. Okay. Something like that. Okay. And but we are yet to get a kind of picture.
Absolutely.
It is totally now currently it is totally uncertain.
Okay, I know.
So it's very important. So my again the request or the suggestion or advice from our side is, you don't worry about that part. It is your job to keep learning, practice well. We always have weekly practice test.
Oh, you have that for AEEE.
Yes, AEEE. And we have our own portal. If you go to amrita.edu/btech, you can find out various links to ebooks. There is portal to practice. There are a lot of activities which we do, because when we continue to do these activities, it is an engagement for you. It is an engagement because you will find it positive. Otherwise, it is going to be dull. So maximum or the utilization of the opportunities in front of you should be given prime importance.
Swamiji, so nice of you to have cleared our doubts, but then there's one more doubt that JEE main and NEET is likely to take place in the 4th week of July. And if that gets postponed, what will happen to AEEE, which you have already planned for 24, 25, 26, 27 and 28?
Yeah.
Will that get further shifted?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
That will also, again, see, that is what it is total uncertainty.
We are just because the students are a bit confused.
Yes.
So it is our duty to see that the confusion is removed. And if JEE main, I don't know which date, I think the 27th or so.
Yeah.
And the NEET is also planned during that time. So what the children want to know is, because many of them are attempting for GMain and a few of them are attempting for NEET, in case they shift to, let's say, August or September, will AEEE also be shifted?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I think it's too early for us to even predict and let you know about those examinations of phase 1, phase 2. But as rightly informed by Swamiji, that one is very clear, that if CBSE says tomorrow that the 12th standard exams are shelved off, then we'll have to shift that phase 1, that is 11th and 12th, to the last 2 days of our phase 2. And in case NEET and JEE main is also postponed, we would also look at postponing our examination. But as Swamiji rightly said, don't get bothered much about the examination. Keep practicing that, and once you keep yourself engaged, the less you think about all these problems. The problems, we will face it, not you.
Yeah.
So be at home.
Be safe.
Be safe, secure,
Keep
practicing, keep practicing, and practice really makes a person perfect. And I'm sure that whichever streams that you are looking at, whether IIT and IIT or whichever is the college you're looking at, and Swamiji said the material of that, keep yourself engaged and stay safe and listen to those instructions by the government and by elders and your parents regarding using the mask and of course social distancing, and eat food that can keep you immune from these viruses. Swamiji, I have special thanks to you for having been with us in the last 55 minutes, and in fact we are totally benefited by your talk, and a lot of things have been clear in terms of admissions to engineering. What should we do if I don't get this? What should not do? What should we decide before we look at a particular institution and take a call on the institution? And a lot of briefing was done. And I'm sure with me, along with the other little students who are watching this Coffee with Krish, would certainly like to thank you especially. Om Namah Shivaya, and God bless you all children, and be good children, and till we meet again.
Always,
one last word from Swamiji before.
Let us always hope for the best, pray for the best, and be confident enough to face the situation. Learn as much as possible. Thank you.
We are back again on Amrita Listens coming Wednesday, and the timing would be around 4 p.m. So again, if there is any further developments, please tune into Amrita Listens on Wednesday. Wednesday is what date would be? 24th? Yeah, 24th at 1600 hours, 4 p.m. And that would give you more explanation on various procedures on getting yourself admitted to Amrita School of Engineering, either at Amritapuri or Bangalore or Chennai or Ettimade. So till we meet again on the 24th at 1600 hours, it's Medhu Krish signing off from Amrita Vishwavidyapitham, Ettimade. Thank you once again, Swamiji, for your presence here, and wishing you all the very best till we meet again. Good day.